What is going on, people? We are back with another video, and this one's all about Meri and her new partner. And I gotta say, Meri sure does know how to choose them, doesn't she now? Now, even though, when she brought the news that she'd finally moved on, a lot of people were very happy that she'd finally moved on, because it was literally, it took her forever. You know what I mean? People became impatient. But sadly, the person that she's moved on with is somebody that comes with one hell of a track record. So all I want to say is this: sit back, relax, get a cup of tea, get some food, whatever you need, because this may be a long one, because there's a lot of information that we are about to drop in this video that literally has been exclusively revealed by the son itself in particular. Now, when it comes to the man himself, Amos here, he's somebody that had 4 wives before Meri. 4 freaking wives. That is a big sign that this man may have an issue with, where one staying in a relationship, and also a sign to say he also likes to rush into a relationship. Which, for most people, if they saw this, I'm pretty sure they'd want to run the opposite direction. But the fact that he's had 4 wives isn't even the biggest issue. The biggest issue is that to his second wife, which happens to be Shannon, a woman that he met when she was, a woman that he married when she was 18 years of age. As you can see here, it does say that, she was 18 when she was 18 and he was 26 when they got married back in 1995 of January 18th at the time in Las Vegas. Okay, but also on top of that, just above, it also talks about how in now new court documents obtained by the US more can be revealed about Amos's past and his relationship with his second wife. And this is where we talk about the fact that they had a daughter, and then what happened? Well, it's been reported that he then refused to pay for child support for literally 7 years. Now, as you can see here, they welcomed their daughter, Tiffany Andrews, okay? And it says here that 2 years later, or 2 years later after, of course, getting married, they had a child. Now, Shannon then filed for divorce in Arizona on August 16, 2000, admitting their relationship, their marriage at this point had pretty much got to a point where there was no fixing it. It was game over. Okay, for what reasons, we don't know. Those reasons have not been said. But then a nasty child support battle then began. Okay, now, of course, at the time the divorce was finalized, the judge awarded both parties the care, custody, and control of their daughter as outlined in the joint parent planning. So that was obviously the gist to begin with. Now, of course, as we dive more into the information in particular, Amos was in a position now where he was ordered to pay Shannon $373 per month, okay, in child support, beginning of February 1st, 2001, and lasting until Tiffany's 18th birthday or other applicable legal reasons. So that was generally the plan in particular. But he says here that, however, during the course of the next 12 years, Amos' ex-wives claimed he failed to, pay. Okay, he failed to adhere to court orders that the judge signed off on at the time. In August 2013, Shannon went back to court to file a petition to modify custody legal decision-making, parenting time, and child support. Shannon alleged the father did not make consistent child support payments from the time of the divorce in 2001 until his wages were garnished in 2008. It also continues by saying that the 7 years of arrears total approximately $10K for which the father currently pays only $125 per month through wage garnishment. Now listen, it's just so sad that this guy is in a position where he's, he got married again, had another child, and he doesn't want to pay up. It's absolutely freaking disgusting. But also on top of that, it continues by saying that the father has been difficult to reach and frequently change phone numbers, mailing addresses, email addresses without informing the mother, sometimes multiple times a year. Now that is something that you call irresponsible. Now, also at the same time, something else that I also did not mention that I need to go back up to go back up to right here. It also talks about how the wife also spoke about how he has a controlling behavior and obsession with reality stars. So I do wonder how his first relationship went downhill. I'm curious if the first relationship went downhill purely because he got to a point where he couldn't control the woman anymore, so therefore he decided to move on to someone younger, and he thought if he was with someone younger, he could manipulate them and they would never leave him. That's usually the go-to. Some people in this world, when they go to date someone younger, it's usually because they want to groom that person to never want to leave them, and for that person to take any BS that they've got, give to them. But luckily for Shannon, she clearly didn't buy into the BS, and she left him obviously after 2 years. So good on her, but I still do question the fact that she was only 18 when they married. So I do wonder how old she was when he actually met her, because that information in particular is quite disturbing and very much disgusting. But also on top of that, it continues here where we talk about how she explained that all of this accounted to her not being able to collect child support and request payment for his share of expenses. Okay, also continues here, and it, furthermore talks about how Shannon also alleged in court documents that he had refused to contribute to child's expenses for daycare, medical, dental, vision, and education for the past 12 years, and that she paid for every extracurricular school activity, a medical appointment, counseling, braces, glasses, etc., glasses, contact, etc. Shannon informed the court that in addition to paying for the expenses for Tiffany, she also had 3 other children under the age of 10. So very, very, very interesting stuff here. Now, also, he does continue by saying prior to Shannon's filing to modify the agreement, Amos had separately filed a modification in June 2013, which is quite funky, right? He requested payments stopped altogether because their daughter was living with him at the time and had been there for 3 months. I mean, listen, if your daughter's with you for 3 months, I wouldn't really identify it as living with you, because listen, it could have been a vacation moment of time. She could have been out of school. I don't necessarily, but if you ask me personally, unless you're in a position where yes, you actually got the child with you physically and she's been with you for like enough time to prove that she's living with them, fair enough. But 3 months, is that really enough? If you ask me, probably not. But people always try and look for loopholes in this world. But either way, though, it continues here by saying that he also hinted at money problems since he accused Shannon in an email per the court documents that she had frozen his accounts. Now, if that had been true, well then definitely a lot of funky business went down here between the two. You know what I mean? Obviously, their relationship is obviously nasty, and it's evident why their relationship ended up ending. Obviously, when it came down to it. But also on top of that, it continues here talking about how as you can see right here, she responded to his claim. I can assure you that it had nothing to do with your accounts being closed, frozen, or whatever has happened. I'm sorry that you're in a bind right now. But listen, the man had a responsibility for his children. Now here's the thing though, we haven't even got to the part of his other 4 wives. Once we get to the part of his 4 wives, that's pretty much going to give you guys a better, definition of how you want to see this man moving forward. Because right now, I'm definitely siding on her side more than I am on his side, because things just don't seem to be right, especially given the fact that he decided to marry a woman literally when she was 18 years of age. Again, very, very suspicious if you ask me. Now, Amos and Shannon participated in parenting conference in March 2014, in which a full agreement was reached on legal decision-making and parenting time. In exchange for Amos' waiver on his current child support claim against her, Shannon was waiving her claim for child support payment that amounted to $10K. His share of uninsured medical expenses and childcare expenses in the amount of $4.5K. Let's just round up here, keep it simple. Now, also at the same time, continues by saying that the documents obtained by the US Sun showed Amos only ended up having to pay Shannon pretty much around about $400. Can you imagine? $400 out of $4K in child support arrangements or payments owed, and the $4,000 for childcare expenses. Now, of course, it continues here by saying each parent will provide for their needs of Tiffany while she was in their care. The court ruled, while adding that all the uninsured medical, dental, and other expenses would be equally divided. In addition, child support was amended to $158 per month, money that Shannon would be paying to Amos, which is funky as hell. His adjusted gross income in 2014 was 3.8K per month, and hers was 6.5K per month according to court documents. The US has reached out to Amos and Shannon for comment. Now listen, I get it, she's in a position where she's earning more money than him, but there is a responsibility to be made here, and it seems to me the responsibility that he has is something that he has pretty much avoided doing. Because if he hadn't avoided this, then I would imagine they wouldn't be in this situation. You see what I'm saying? It seems to me as if because she earns more money, maybe he expects her to just do everything by herself, because he probably thought, well, I need my money more than you need the money because you have more money. I mean, listen, some people's logic in this world, that's how it works. But we continue now. This is where we get down to the ending here when it comes to the 4 marriages in particular. Now, as you can see, prior to dating Meri, Amos was married 4 times as confirmed by court documents obtained by the US Sun. It says here that his first marriage was to Tracy Smith Lang. It's unclear when they got married, but their divorce was finalized in 1994 when the decree was entered. Now, the couple had 2 children together, a son named Kody, who is now 36, and a daughter named Christina, who is now 35. So this man obviously already had 2 kids anyway prior to, being in his second relationship with Shannon. So that's quite interesting. And then obviously moving on now, when it came to Amos' second marriage with Shannon, as we obviously already described earlier, they have a daughter, Tiffany, who's now 26. And Tiffany seems to be the child that has suffered the most by the looks of it. His third marriage was to a woman named Christine Andrews. And then obviously when it came to Christine, Amos got married in March 2002. Now let's forget though, the spaces between these guys' marriages is quite crazy, because in his first marriage, legit, this guy was divorced in 1994. He then went on to marry Shannon in 1995. That is quite suspicious, isn't it? Now, who knows when he actually met Shannon as well? So I do wonder how all that went down. But also at the same time, it continues by saying that he got married in March 2022 in Arizona, and his ex filed for divorce in June 2004. Literally, marriage that lasted 2 years. His marriage with Shannon lasted 2 years as well. And, you know, not too sure obviously how long his marriage lasted with Tracy, but clearly him and his marriages, they're clearly things that just doesn't seem to be last long. Now, the only good thing about his relationship with Christine is that it is not reported that he ended up having any kids with her. So I think that's a very good thing if you ask me personally. But either way though, you know, March 2022, and then obviously divorce in June 2004, 2 years later pretty much. And then also continues by Mary's, it says here also Mary's boyfriend's first marriage was to Jennifer Andrews. Okay, they got married in September 7th, 2016. So that was a bigger gap for once, you know what I mean? And then, you know, she filed for divorce on March 18th, 2021 on the grounds of, you know, the fact that they had differences. But it's crazy though, because this guy's now gone through 4 freaking marriages now. We fast forward to 2024. Well, let's say 2023, because that's when him and Meri obviously met each other. I mean, listen, the guy's got one hell of a track record. The question that I have is this: has he learned from his mistakes? Now, that is the question that really matters the most, because if he hasn't, well, then Meri has put herself in a predicament. Well, she's put herself in something I would like to call a relationship of the inevitable, a relationship that is pretty much prone to a breakup. That's how it feels like. That's how it seems at this moment in time, that this is exactly what's going to happen. Now, whether that happens, I guess we'll find out obviously within due time. But right now, it's not looking very, very good when it comes to Meri's relationship. Well, yeah, right now it's not looking good in terms of, you know, his track record itself in particular. But hopefully for Meri's sake it'll work out, and hopefully for his sake it'll work out. But honestly, this whole situation with him and the child support, it is actually quite sad. I mean, listen, he can try and flip all he likes and find loopholes all he likes. At the end of the day, the proof is in the pudding, and the proof is that in the end, he just didn't pay up for the majority of those 7 years, or if not the majority of the 12 years, so much they were taken to court. But hey, you guys let me know exactly what you're thinking down below, and we can most certainly talk about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.